Buongiorno a tutti e oggi grazie a Manuela, grazie anche a Eyesopen, abbiamo ospite di eccellenza, ospite molto interessante, Sam Harris, è londinese di origine ma un po' indiano, un po' australiano, ma che ha una grandissima storia molto interessante, ma come anche evoluzione che ha fatto lui come fotografo, come persona, è veramente qualcosa di straordinaria che non tutti abbiamo il coraggio di affrontare, ma grazie a questo il coraggio, serietà di affrontare qualcosa, lui è oggi diventato un fotografo importantissimo e lo sarà anche in futuro, ancora di più. Ok, adesso tocca a te nel senso, chiediamo un piccolo racconto della sua storia e prego.
Hi Sam.
Hi Manuela.
Please, could you tell us about your personal and professional trip in life and the world of photography in few minutes, please?
Okay, so my journey in photography. Okay, I started out in London in the late 1980s, self-taught, so I lived in, I made my room into a dark room and I spent time experimenting. I had a big passion for music and I began to work in the record industry, making record covers. I went from there to shooting portraits, editorial magazines like the Sunday Times magazine, Esquire, Dazed and Confused, Telegraph magazine. So I was working in this world in London, mostly around the music scene. In the late 90s, around 97, 98, I think the music industry was changing. Big corporate companies like EMI and Sony were going around buying all the record labels and the identities of the music industry was changing a lot, and I started to feel there was a change from in the early days everything was very passionate and we all worked together with a creative spirit, and in the late 90s it began to be more corporate, more about product. There was less spirit and soul, and I started to feel detached from the work I was doing. The people I was working with were changing as well and more interested in celebrity and this kind of thing. In the same time, I think 1997, I went to a Don McCullum exhibition at the Barbican Centre, and it really touched me. It made me question a lot about what I was doing with my photography, where I wanted to go with my photography. So it's really pushed me to think a lot, and I began to do some documentary projects, firstly for myself. This led to me doing some assignments with the same magazines I was doing the portraits for. I began to travel doing documentary work as well as portraits. In 2001 or 2000, I think, I had an assignment to Haiti, the world's first tribal tattoo festival, and there was many people there, tattooists from around the world with their families and children, and at this time I had a baby daughter at home with my wife in London, and I was thinking really these kind of experiences we should be sharing together. It didn't feel natural that I always go off and have the adventure. So I think some seeds were planted in this trip. A couple of years later, I had an assignment to go to the Amazon rainforest photographing endangered tribes. When I received the phone call, because this is before email and the internet. I had maybe a naive, romantic idea about what I was going to experience, feathers and painted faces. When I arrived in the Amazon, I was shocked by what I found there. There were people in a very bad condition, depressed, disease. I began to question what I was doing there and thinking if really this photography was going to help these people. It seemed that regardless of what I did, they were somehow doomed, you know. So it made me really kind of feel like this work is probably more about my own portfolio and my own career. So these things were stirring up in my mind, and I was really questioning everything about my identity as a photographer. This was really, you know, over some discussions with my wife over a few years. Really, it pushed us to the point where we were thinking about leaving London. Where my daughter Uma, was she going to grow up in London, and we wanted to maybe find another way of living, but we didn't have the answers. But we just wanted to see what we could find. I made one portrait session when I came back from that job with Victoria Beckham, and it was not a nice experience. It was very unpersonal and very corporate, and I just came home from this job very low, and I felt like if this is how I'm feeling doing these kind of jobs, something is not right anymore. And I wanted to engage again with the young photographer that was creative and experimental, and I think I felt really the only truth that I could hang on to was my family. And I began to think about this idea of making a family diary and documenting our life, and we decided to leave everything in England. I abandoned my career totally, and we bought one-way tickets for India, and we went over to India, and we travelled for a few years in India and also in Australia and back in India, and we lived slowly. You know, we live in a village for 6 months here, 3 months there, cooking at home, and you know, we had a well in the garden where we bring our own water, so we were living a very simple life. During this period I was trying to take my photography forward, but it was more difficult than I anticipated. How to get past the cliches, and also I felt I had a lot of habits that I learned through my career in London that were getting in the way of what I was trying to do. Being in India and soaking up the culture and the spiritual ideas there, I started to learn I have to let go. I have to let go of old habits and ways of working, and I have to just kind of, from this start in a new place. It was difficult for some time. I struggled with my photography and my identity as a photographer. But photography is all I know. It's all I've done since I was like 19 years old. So I just hang on to my photography. Around late 2007, 2008, we migrated to Australia permanently to live in this small village or town that we came across while we were driving around in our camper van. Very special small town with some artists, creative people, musicians, some people building their own houses, and permaculture, gardening, and very interesting, different place. So we felt very attracted to this place, and that's where we live there now. So we became settled there, and in this time I had some breakthroughs with my photography, some accidents, which is always something all along the way of my journey, is the happy accidents, and learning to be open to them, to recognize them, and to embrace them, and you can grow from that. So yeah, from that point really is when the body of work that I'm doing, I've made the book, The Middle of Somewhere, that's where it's coming from. So during this time in India, I think really when I was lost, afterwards I look back and I could see you have to sometimes get lost if you want to find new land, or make a fresh discovery. That's really what happened, but it's, you know, just from the encouragement of my wife, and just being following my heart, and just, you know, not letting go. Yes, well, since last year I published my book.
Possiamo far vedere quel...
Certo.
Si può...
Have you the book, please?
Commovente questa scritta intanto. Don't worry, smile, nothing will happen.
Ci tengo a dire che l'editore è Ceiba Foto. Sul sito e in librerie specializzate.
Sì.
Poi mettiamo i link, sicuramente le persone potranno arrivare al libro.
Anche noi compreremo. La prossima visita lui metterà la firma, l'autografo. E questo libro l'ho visto prima, è commovente, veramente è un momento come un diario personale di ogni momento della ogni sua vita, della loro gioia, quell'attimo, e che non ritorneranno mai più, ma come dice lui, e conservare questi attimi è veramente è amore. E questa è una cosa che ha fatto, è un percorso che ha fatto veramente molto, ma molto intimo, e con delle fotografie veramente ma molto belle. Alla fine questo è molto difficile, e lui è riuscito a fare, ma tanti non riescono a fare. E qui c'è anche il suo sentimento molto profondo, e la sua paura, la gioia. Insomma, è un sentimento umano, ma sentimento umano affrontato con estrema onestà, estrema sincerità. Questo è quello che conta, questo è quello che mi ha colpito, mi ha fatto lacrimare, e questo libro è eccezionale, consigliamo a tutti.
The Middle of Somewhere, e questo è il Somewhere.
E che? Dov'è questo?
Dove vive?
È proprio dove vivono.
Vivono, esatto. And so, about your present, about your book and your work now, are you working on?
Well, from late 2014 until the middle of 2015, it was all about making the book. And then we were launching the book, and I've been exhibiting. I've just been here in the south of Italy, in Lecce, at the Bitumi Photo Festival, exhibiting the work. So I've been exhibiting also in Australia, and I've been busy with this kind of stuff. So I haven't really been so active with the photography, and yet I'm always taking photograph. And when your photography is in the domestic place, you're never switched off really. It's like you're always on standby, you know, and then the light comes through the window, you see the picture. So still I'm making photographs of my family and my daughters, because the book is done. It's not, I don't stop seeing, I don't stop making picture, but I'm also expanding the work a little bit. I begin to do some things more with my community and friends. Have a working title for my next book, Neighbours.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. You know, I have some archive because anyway I'm photographing them all the time I've been living there, but now I want to go sort of deeper into that, and I see it as rippling out. You know, this is very much as when the children are small, their world is just in the home, yes, and as they grow, the horizons get wider. So with that, this work is also getting wider as well. So yeah, I will be continuing to photograph. You know, I at home or close to home or really anywhere I am. If it's an intimate situation, I'm photographing. It's the intimate connections and relationships that inspire me, like having a meal with a good friend. You know, it's the same thing for me, the photography relationship. I'm not really going outside of that, but that can be anywhere. I mean, if we spend time together, I start taking photographs of us, because this is how it goes.
And are you living day by day, or you have a plan for the future?
Yeah. A little bit of both, I think. You know, I try, my photography is really spontaneous.
Yeah.
So, but plan for the future, I don't know. At the moment, I may be thinking about my daughter's university choices. You know, do the next book maybe, but I think you have to be more present to now, you know, and if you have, you know, I just want to try and do things that's positive, to make positive changes. I think there's a lot of, I mean, different photographers work in different ways. We're all unique and we all have to work with what we have inside, yeah? So for me, you know, I want to just try to encourage positive changes and, you know, universal togetherness. So that's what I'm trying to do with my photography.
E l'ultima parte, vorrei che lui ci regalasse un piccolo suggerimento a tutti gli appassionati di fotografia.
Can you suggest to the amateur about photography something?
For
a
sure.
pillow. A little pillow about
Little small pills.
Yes, okay. Number one, you have to follow your heart, your passion. Yeah, you have to really feel it and follow that. Number two, understand that tenacity is really important. Yeah, you know, you have to maybe think like the long distance runner more than the sprinter. You know, be true to yourself. What else can I say? I don't know. You know, it's about love.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome in Italy.
Thank you.
We hope to see you again.
Me too.
Time in Italy.
Thank you. Thanks for your hospitality. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Grazie.
Grazie Manuela.
Grazie a voi.
Grazie Manuela.
Grazie a Sam,
Yes, thank
grazie
you,
a voi.
Manuela.
No?